Hey all, welcome back to the Let's Talk About Things podcast. It's been a while since we've just had kind of me and Lacey sitting down and chatting. We were just talking, we've had quite a few guests lately. We had, Cole and just a whole host of guests that we've had recently, and they've all been awesome. But we also were thinking we probably have some new followers. We've been noticing our analytics and our follower increasing, and we thought, man, there's some people who have no idea who the heck we are and why we do this. So we thought we would just kind of chat with y'all, catch up, let people know who we are, and see where it takes us. So if you're new, we are sisters. We are Holly and Lacey. We're from El Paso, Texas originally, and we've kind of lived all over since then, and now central-ish Texas is home. Yep. Lacey, tell them what you do for a living.
I am in sales. It's broadband and telecom, so my job is always either in a vehicle, an airplane, and I'm living out of my luggage. But when I was in Dallas at the time, I had reached out to Holly because I had a huge push. It was that spiritual push we've talked about where I was like, man, I feel like we need to do a podcast or something. Make it lighthearted, make it genuine, talk about things that matter to us. And at the time when I was in Dallas, I thought there's no way we can put it together. But luckily the job that I have now offered me a position back home where our family is now in Central Texas. So Holly and I just started, and now we're on season 3 of Let's Talk About Things. And the name goes back to when Holly and I were kids, and we used to talk. We should have our mom on at some point.
Yeah,
she's a
seriously.
huge part of why we even talk so much.
No offense, Mom.
But she used to always just chat with us, or we'd ask her questions. We were not iPad kids growing up, so we would always ask our mom questions. And Holly and I were trying to think of a name when we first started this podcast, and we were like, man, it's got to mean something to us. And when we were kids, we used to always tell our mom, we'd walk up to her, or we'd jump on her bed, and we would just say, let's talk about things. Like, what are we going to talk about today?
Our poor mom.
Let's talk about things. Let's talk about things. That's all we said. And so it naturally came to us to do Let's Talk About Things, especially because we talk from religion to politics to health, fitness, which we need to do a little bit more of. But that's a little bit of a backstory if people are curious as to why the name. Yeah,
the name gave us a broad range of topics, and somehow or another it's really honed in on the Christian corner of things, and that is totally fine. That's probably why God called Lacey to do it in the first place. He's got some sort of agenda that he's working on through us, and I'm happy to do that. That's fine if that's where he's leading us. I'm trying to think, for people that don't know me, I was a stay-at-home mom for a while, for a whole year.
Most of the beginning of the podcast, actually.
Yeah, most people know me, from my stay-at-home mom days, but in August I went back to work full-time as an attorney, and for the last 2 years, I've never stopped teaching as an adjunct professor. I teach at the local university, just some business law courses, things like that. And I'm still a mom, so that doesn't go anywhere. So I feel like I have 3 jobs. But that is basically what I do. And I don't know if y'all saw it, but Lacey put out a TikTok recently about a lot of her 2025 wins. What were some of your wins? I'm trying to remember.
So to be completely honest, I was about to go out of town yet again, and I was like, you know what? I meant to do this, and I forced myself to make a cake, and I made that cake in less than an hour, threw it together. It was really good, but I love that milestone cake trend, if y'all see that on TikTok or Instagram, and it makes you truly think about the positives, because sometimes we obsess so much about the negatives that I had to think back all the way of all the positive things I've done. But I put on there that I moved into a new place, a place of my own,
where we are now.
Yeah, where we're recording, and it's really cool. It was definitely a blessing that came out of nowhere. But I also went to Alaska with my best friend, or to visit my best friend Ashley, and that was one of the highlights of the year just because of how amazing Alaska is and my best friend Ashley. But Holly and I grew our podcast this past year. I think more so. We kind of focused on certain guests and topics that were really important. I talked a little bit about, I picked up some hobbies like my polymer clay magnets and my embroidery and just keeping myself busy.
Yeah. I will say that there's a lot of single people. If you know anything about our podcast, Lacey's had, a history, and I don't mean this in a negative way.
You know our podcast, this girl is single. If you've been here from the beginning, she's still single.
I don't mean it in a
still
negative
has
way.
problems.
She's been a voice for all the singles out there. Like, that's been her history and her story.
I choose happiness.
And she's very open about it. Where was I even going with that?
Hobbies and crafts.
Oh, yeah. Like, a lot of singles will sit and do nothing and stew. Lacey at least finds stuff to do. Like, she does not sit around moping and, being, whining about her situation. She finds stuff to do. It might be learning to, what was you learned to do? Cross-stitching? Was it that?
I learned,
embroidery.
Well, the first thing was I got back into the boondoggles. So
The what?
The boondoggles that we used to make at VBS. The things that they were the plastic
Those have a name?
boondoggles.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're
Look
a
it
90s
up.
kid, listen up. The lanyard twisties.
Lanyard twisties, and I have a whole kit in my closet,
Boondoggles.
literally right here.
That sounds like boondocks. Like out in the boondocks.
Because I couldn't figure out, you actually have to type it in to get the kit on Amazon. They're called boondoggles.
I am 34 years old
Boondoggles.
and I'm just learning.
Yep.
And I've made so many of those. So stinking many of them.
Well, I still had some of the leftovers from when we lived in El Paso and would make them for church. So I had that bag, and I got back into that during my prep season. So when I competed in my second bodybuilding show, that was another milestone. But during the cut where you are so hungry and you have to distract yourself, boondoggles. I found them in my closet, just started working with my hands to keep my hands busy. And then that translated to embroidery, which I bought an embroidery set kit, which was so calming. I mean, if you have like ADHD or anxiety or whatever, and you're really trying to find something, embroidery was surprisingly comforting. So I got into that. I just need to work on the, I guess when I sketch it, it's kind of funky. I need to get that better. But then recently, my most recent fixation is polymer clay magnets.
Yeah, I got one as a
lot.
Christmas gift and I went, what in the world? Like, it was this teeny weeny little coffee cup and it's cool, but I was like, wait, I was like, oh my gosh, she's got another hobby. Oh my goodness.
And then I made all those on the wall. And
I really think you have undiagnosed ADHD. She gets these.
I've got undiagnosed a lot of
Because
stuff.
my husband is diagnosed ADHD and he gets constant hyperfixations. Like, he has a new hobby every other week, and it's not like when people have ADHD, it's not just a little like nothing hobby. They like dive in full force. They buy the kits, they research it, they're buying equipment for it. Like, anybody who's got ADHD out there, tell us what your hyperfixations are, because I don't know. I think Lacey
it wasn't something I intended to pick up. It's just I got that one period of my life this year where I was so sick of social media and I didn't want to look at Instagram, Facebook, and I actually deactivated them for 4 or 5 months. I wanted something to help me pull away from social, or for wanting to grab your phone and look at it. So I picked up those arts and crafts, and I'm not good at drawing. I cannot draw to save my life. That is our cousin's department. But I realized I'm good at making stuff. Like, I can bake, I can cook. I love to work with my hands. And I do have that wood burning kit too. So I was like, why don't I get into...
I don't even remember what we were talking about one day. She goes, oh yeah, I can do that with my wood burning kit. And I went, you're what? Like, why am I even surprised at this point? Oh, okay.
Because I got into making,
I think your statement to me was, oh yeah, that's when I thought I was going to get really into wood burning. And I was like, Yeah, I don't even think we can say you're undiagnosed anymore. I'm pretty sure it's solid ADHD.
It's actually very pleasing. I bought some of those little wood planks from Hobby Lobby just to practice on, and it's soothing. It's a little smoky, but it is soothing too. I just can't draw, so I feel like I need to trace something with that. But it has come in handy quite a bit. I'm not good with a lot of like building. I can't just build a dresser. I can't just build a table, but I can like thrift something and change it into something. So, I mean, that's kind of where I was trying to figure it out. But staying off of social media and practicing that brought out the arts and crafts.
I don't think people realize how addicted they are until they try to stop. Like, there have been times where, like, and if I have been on social media or TikTok too much in a day, I'm crabbier.
You feel upset.
Like, you feel angry, and you're
Yeah.
like, why am I mad? Like, why do I want to bite my husband's head off? I like, you check your phases on your period tracker. You're like, no, I'm not in a bad phase. What's going on? It's like, oh, I've been on TikTok too long. Like, I don't know what it does to the human brain. I'm sure somebody smarter than me knows, but it makes you like not okay. I'm like,
because it's all about seeing people's best versions of themselves when you know it's not true. And we're all guilty of it. You don't want to show the raw and the ugly, but there is nothing but pain and raw and unfiltered that doesn't get shown, and we don't get to see that. So our brain automatically goes, oh, they must think their life is better, or, oh, they're living such a great life, what's wrong with me? And that's not the case. And I think even during Christmas is hard for me. Christmas has never been hard until the last 2 years. It's been
a
very,
lot of
very
single
hard.
people can relate.
And that hit me because my whole life I've loved Christmas. My whole life I've looked forward to it. But the last 2 years I was going, God, it is a chore. It is a chore to try and find the joy, even though I felt guilty for feeling that way. And you watch all these videos of people being like, oh, this is what we did, and oh, I got married, I got engaged, oh my God.
It was definitely engagement season.
Oh gosh. and I'm so happy for them because I want that one day. But Christmas kicked my butt. I'm not even going to lie. I was mentally in a weird place.
Well, not to be morbid, but for those of you that don't know, my husband's a firefighter paramedic, and every year around Christmas they would get more suicide calls than any other time of year.
Because you're seeing people's, you see a version of, I'm
seeing
so
people's
happy.
joy.
Yeah, I'm so happy, but they could be lying. And I think I posted a video of me, I think I was posting what it looks like to be alone on Christmas or Christmas Eve. And I wasn't doing it for anything other than it's extremely normal and it's okay. And you don't have to be with a big group of people to feel loved. And I was as genuine as I possibly could be. And even though it doesn't reach many people, I know it reached 1 or 2 people that feel the same way.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, and
that was my washer.
Yeah, if y'all are watching and you saw me look over here like I saw a ghost, it's because Lacey's washer just sounded like it was going to come out of the wall.
No, that back piece keeps sliding off from it.
But anyway, the holidays are hard for singles, and I think Lacey and I had a conversation about it, and I was genuinely curious. I was like, what can those of us who aren't single do better this time of year? Like, how can we better support the singles in our life? And Lacey was like, just include us. You don't have to go out of your way. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just like, if you're going to do something and you wouldn't mind some company, invite us, include us. Like, we just want to be around y'all. And I was like, oh, that's super simple.
So it's and I hope people, whether you're a single person or not, please don't take the single perspective as because you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship or you're building a future that we're jealous or unhappy. That's not it at all. We are so happy for you. At the same time, we are waiting for that ourselves. So we don't want you to not celebrate those moments. We don't want you to not celebrate those milestones and be with your family. It's just when we're in our waiting season, it's extremely difficult to constantly hear, be patient. The right one is around the corner. It'll come when you're least expecting. No, we don't want to hear that. We hear that all the time. That is the last thing we want to hear. we sometimes just need to be told, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? We're going to go look at lights. Do you want to come? Even if we can't, or even if, let's say, we're busy, it's still appreciative to know that we're thought of at the same time.
And this is probably a really bad example, but I was trying to put myself in those shoes and relate to that. And I was like, I feel like I felt that on some level when I was a brand new mom, and you're just in the trenches of motherhood and you are trying to survive and figure out how to keep this little tiny human alive. And everybody's telling you, oh, it'll be gone so soon, or, oh, you'll miss this one day. And I'm like, everybody just shut up. This sucks. And you're just like, just let me mope. And you're just like, I know I'll get there one day, but that doesn't mean it doesn't suck now.
Yeah.
It's,
and we're not asking for, I'm not speaking for everybody, but personally, I'm not asking for pity. I'm not asking for people to feel like if they don't invite me, I'm going to get pissed. That's not the case.
No.
Sometimes I prefer to stay in, but it's more of I always show up for people. I always make time. Even if I have been exhausted that entire week and I don't want to go, I still show up, because I think people forget that the entitlement is in our generation is so heavy that people forget it's not all about you. Show up for your friend's birthday. Show up for your friend's accomplishments. Show up for your family. If you have bad grudges with people, obviously I'm not saying that. I didn't say cross that territory, but people forget to sometimes burden themselves with their other friends and their other families, because they use it as, oh, I'm triggered. It's a trauma response. I don't want to go. My anxiety, my depression. Yeah, we all have problems, but
that's
start showing up for people. Start being there for others.
That's been a hot topic online and videos I've seen. And at first I was like, I don't agree with that. But then the more I watched it, the more I was like, you know what? They've got a point. It was people talking about how it's okay to set boundaries, and we do need to say no sometimes, and we can't say yes to everything.
Right.
That's true. But we're starting to get to the point where we're not saying yes to anything hardly.
Yeah.
We're just putting up so many boundaries that we're not being part of our own communities. And then we look around wondering where all our friends went. Well, you stopped showing up. If you want to be part of a community, if you want a friend, you've got to be a friend. And sometimes that means showing up to things when it's inconvenient, or when you're tired, or when you'd rather be doing anything else. And I am queen introvert, y'all. I don't like doing much of anything. So at first I was defensive. I was like, that's not true. And then I thought, you know what? There might be some truth to that. I think we've almost gone too far saying no and setting up too many boundaries. I remember, I think about our grandparents and our parents. They showed up to anything and everything if it was somebody that they cared about. There was no question. Oh, it's not about whether I want to go to that event. It's, do I love that person? And if the answer is yes, then I'm showing up. It doesn't matter if I want to.
Well, and that's what got lost was, because I travel, this, I travel probably 80% of the time for my job.
Just listening to your schedule makes me tired.
Yeah, I'm in a different state and a different city every other day.
She just got in from Fredericksburg this morning, not even an hour ago.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where I asked God for these blessings. I prayed when I had $5 to my name, when I was in the hole. I prayed for him to bless me with a job that I have now. And now that I am fruitful because of his love and his grace, I need to steward it well. So even though there are days when I would rather sit on this couch and just relax, put a face mask on, which I have done, and that's extremely important.
You
people.
need those.
Self-care is very important. And yes, if you have a toxic situation that you keep getting drawn to, I'm not saying that. Cut that boundary off. Do not involve yourself in toxic environments. But what I was getting at was, I've seen my friends go from, I texted them all the time, how are you doing? Just checking in on you. Did you want to grab lunch? Did you want to grab coffee? To, let me see if I don't text them for a few weeks. Let's see what happens. I have yet to talk to any of them since. And it wasn't an experiment to see that, because I'm not saying you need to text me all the time. I do not need that. I'm a phone call person. I always have been. But it gets to, think of it this way. when I am so busy and my life is so busy and pulls me in 8 different directions, I'm still coming home and thinking, okay, when did I last see my nieces? When did I last see my parents? How long has it been since I went to go visit my brother? I try to remember that even if I'm single and I'm waiting for whatever the Lord has, it is my job to wait well. And I have to be there for other people, even in my waiting, because I would want someone to be there for me when it comes my time. So there are days when I physically cannot go to a baby shower, or I physically cannot go to someone's event because I'm out of the state. That's different. I'm trying to make a living, and they understand that. But like, if I invite you to a birthday party of mine, or if I invite somebody somewhere, in my heart, when you RSVP or you tell me yes, I'm so excited to see you. Like, I genuinely can't wait to see you. Now, if you cancel last minute, you have kids, it happens. But sometimes it gets to a point where it happens so much that it's almost aggravating. It's like, look, I have always been there for you. I have shown up. I don't mind if things slip every now and then, but these little bitty excuses that people are coming up with these days about, oh, it's uncomfortable, oh, I don't feel like going, then like,
just don't be surprised if you don't have any friends.
Yeah, I was like, then I'm not going to keep inviting, because at that point it's just breaking my heart that you're not showing up for me.
And I remember, I think it was your birthday last year. Yeah, it had to be. No, maybe it was in we're in 2026.
I turned 28. So it was when I moved back the first time.
So 2024? I think I just had Jessie.
Yeah,
so Jessie was born in March. Lacey has a June birthday. March, April, May, June. So she was 3 or 4 months old at the time of Lacey's birthday. And Lacey was having a birthday dinner. And as a new mom with a 4-month-old, I was like terrified to get out. I was like really not wanting to go, not because I didn't want to be there for Lacey, but because I was like, oh my God, my husband's on shift. It's going to be me juggling the baby the whole time at a crowded restaurant. I don't know. I was making up every, excuse in the book, because let's be honest, a lot of times they're excuses. But then I was like, you know what, Holly? It doesn't matter if it becomes a total, just absolute chaotic scene. Like, you need to show up. Like, this person matters to you. So, like, bring the baby and do your best. And if she freaks out, she freaks out. But we're just like, you need to go. And I went, and I was so glad I did, because I think it meant a lot to Lacey, and everybody who was there took turns holding my baby, and it all went great. Like, it was totally fine. Like, every reason and excuse I had concocted in my head was all bogus, and I was like, sometimes we make it up in our head how it's going to be, and it's not going to be that bad. We get all worked up, and it's like, just go. And if it starts to go south, then you can leave.
Yeah.
It's
I remember that, and I was like, I mean, the people that did show up for me, I mean, it meant a lot, but it was like, it's not even about the birthday. It's just, I want to see everyone together. I just want everyone to be in the same room and hug their necks. And I got to see my little niece, and she was precious and was having fun with our cousin. So, I mean, that was good. But I challenge people that have trouble showing up for others and you feel guilty about it. Have that conversation with that person. Like, genuinely say, hey, I love you and I don't want to lose you as a friend or a family member, or whatever your situation. But tell them that it's really hard for me to get out of the house. Maybe you're struggling with seasonal depression. I know that. I was diagnosed with depression. I get it.
It's winter.
But the only thing that helps me get out of that is by not focusing on my own problems, not focusing on my own depression, and not allowing it to be this seed that I plant in my brain. Because neurologically, we know that the brain does not know any other reality than what you tell it. Your brain only reacts based off of what you think and believe. So for me, I get, like, ask any one of my true friends, like my true friends. I do not care if something comes up and they're like, I'm sick, or so-and-so, this happened. I totally understand. I am never going to hold that over your head. I'm not going to throw that back in your face. I don't want someone to be around me out of fear.
And as someone who talks to Lacey regularly, I promise you, if you didn't show up to her thing, she never said a word about it. Like, she's not sitting around there going, oh, so-and-so didn't show up, and blah, 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 blah. She's not talking smack about you. Like, if you had a reason, then you had a reason.
And see, to me, because I get it, I'm almost too much of an empath that I get why they didn't leave the house. I understand why it was hard for them. But where it started to irritate me this year was when I would start to get out of my comfort zone and fix my own problems, and I started to really work on myself, and you see who you've grown out of. You've seen the person that you've left behind, and you start moving forward, and you realize you sometimes grow out of friendships too. You start to go, oh, I'm in the wrong circle now. But it started to upset me more when it does not upset me if you hurt me, but it's when you don't show up because you have a headache.
Or just like some dumb reason.
And it's going, okay, well, if you're
like,
hungover or anything like that, that was your choice. Unless your child or something is extravagant and you told me you were going to show up. I mean, I get that life happens. I'm not saying that life doesn't happen, but it's when it's a constant pattern of your own actions preventing you from showing up for your friends and family. That's when I get upset.
Well, and you can't just take and never give. Like,
no,
that, I feel like somehow or another, that's probably a biblical principle. You know, we're meant to be community creatures. We're meant to give and love others. And how are you loving others if all you ever do is, you know, let them come to you, but you never put forth any effort for other people? Like, I think it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and sometimes it's not just showing up to things you're invited to. Sometimes it's taking the initiative and creating the thing for that person. Like, for example, Lacey's 30th birthday is this year. That's a big birthday. So it's January, and I'm already thinking ahead to June about like, okay, I got to somehow plan for that because I want to make sure it's a nice birthday. So I'm going to get my finances in order. I'm going to talk to her, see what she wants to do. Like, I'm already thinking ahead so that I can't make excuses last minute or, you know,
I don't even know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn 30.
Yeah. We don't know what she's going to do yet. Like,
but I texted my twin brother, I texted him because we celebrate the birthday together.
Share.
Yeah. But I mean, if it were any other birthday, I wouldn't mind. But for our 30th, I would like for us to be together somehow. But I know that he's got the 2 kiddos and he doesn't live nearby. But I was telling Holly, I kind of want to spend it somewhere really cool. I don't
Define
saying
really cool.
I'm not saying leave the country. I'm not saying go all crazy. I'm not saying like that, but I'd like to actually go somewhere and maybe do something in a cabin or a mountainside, or maybe do something where it's so inclusive and you sit around a lake or a fire, like something that has the most amazing people and the most people I love in my life all in one room, Logan included. And if he can, I don't know his situation, but I don't want to party. I don't want to get drunk. I don't want to do any of that.
When you're 30, you don't.
I just want to be around people that matter to me and have a good time, spend time by a fireside. I even thought about doing Harry Potter World, to be completely honest, to have the kiddos
in
involved.
Orlando?
Yeah, because Mom has always wanted to go, so it would be a time for her to go, but I know Dad probably wouldn't go, so it's like, you got to think of everybody else.
This is a good example. Like, this is in real time. We're talking through how you show up even when it's hard. Like, Lacey's talking about how she wants to go do something out of town for her 30th birthday. In my brain, I'm thinking, okay, at that point, I'll have a 2-year-old. So travel is hard. Travel is expensive. But I'm trying to think of a way to make it happen as opposed to trying to come up with excuses. Like, I'm trying to figure out how I can do it. I'm trying to figure out how financially we can swing it. Like, and we don't know yet. It's still a ways off. We'll figure something out. But like, this is an example of what we're talking about. Instead of just being a defeatist and being like, no, it's not going to work. You know, like, okay, hold on. Let's think about it. This is, you know, in this example that we're using, Lacey's the person that, when I turned 30, rented me a Hummer limo, took me out to Cristoval Winery. We had a great tour of the place, got a little tipsy on some Cristoval wine. I mean, and it was a great time. And that limo was off the chain. Does anybody say off the chain anymore? Probably
we were
not.
Listening to Backstreet Boys. And
oh, yeah. It was great. And see, we didn't go very far, but it was like a huge gesture because I didn't think we were doing anything for my birthday. I didn't expect anything. So it was a big gesture.
well, I was still in grad school at the time. So I was like, how can I afford this, but also make it really fun?
Yeah.
And I get that with kids, it makes it 10 times harder, which is why,
It does.
because someone said, well, when you're single, it's easier for you to do stuff. It's easier for you to show up places. Yes, it is, but it doesn't take away the burden we still have to carry. It doesn't take away that just because we're single and we show up for everything because it's easier, then when it's our turn and no one shows up, that's a heavy burden. That's really hard. But I don't want people to break their bank accounts. I don't want people to have to go into debt just to help me out with something. I'm cool with, even if we have to celebrate it early and then I go do a little trip by myself, that's fine. And I've come to that conclusion in my life that I'm going to have to do things alone and spend milestones alone. But sometimes I'm like, man, I don't care about where it's at. I just want the people that matter most to me to be there. And we have older parents.
Cool.
Our parents can't necessarily travel, but I did text Logan and I was like, hey, let's start planning something, and he hasn't responded. But
he never answers his phone.
He never answers his phone.
Our brother doesn't answer his phone.
No, his wife will go,
I don't know how he's a sales rep.
No, his wife, Kateria, will go, oh, hey, did Logan ask y'all or tell y'all about XYZ? And we're like, no.
Like, no communication.
None whatsoever. But I would like, being a twin, yes, I've had to share my birthday my whole life, but the 30th is a different one.
But we live in the great state of Texas. You could not leave the state and still find a million fun things to do. So there is something. We just haven't found it yet. But we're thinking ahead early so that those of us who it is financially harder for, if that's the case, can sort of plan around it.
Well, and I even wanted to bring to Logan that if it would be too hard to travel with 2 kiddos, which I get it would be, then we could always do like a mini celebration in Texas for those that can go. And then on our actual 30th, whoever wants to go, let's all go to like Orlando. Let's go do something. Let's go to the mountains. Let's put in our PTO and actually use our PTO and do something fun. And maybe that might be where the grandparents have to take the kiddos. I don't know. And if you're in a similar situation, like, and you've got someone that doesn't want to come, can you go to them? Like, I'm not saying we have to do this, but like, if we wanted to, could we go to Fort Worth and find a cool Airbnb? I don't know. There's always a way to show up for people is my entire point here. Like, it may not be ideal, and the person you're showing up for may have to compromise. Like Lacey's already talked about how she knows that with kids and finances it's hard, so she's willing to bend and budge and make it work. And like I said, I don't mind going places alone. I've done that a lot this year. I've actually become so comfortable going places alone that when somebody asks like, why didn't I invite them or whatever, I'm like, oh, I genuinely just like being alone.
One of Lacey's favorite places to go, and she'll go all by herself, is just Fredericksburg. Like I love that place. You've been wandering around that place. I like being able to walk around and window shop. I don't necessarily buy stuff, but if it has a coffee shop and I can walk around and look at some cute stuff, but I don't necessarily have to. Now, there is one thing in Fort Worth that I thought would be so cool to do last year, but my friends kind of backed out at the last minute, was that horseback riding in Fort Worth. They take you on that trail. Kateri, is there a cliff?
I don't remember.
Oh my God, because I'm afraid of heights.
No, there's not like that, but like in Fort Worth, there's this horseback riding you can rent for, I forgot what the package was, but it was super affordable. So affordable.
See, and something like that, Lacey loves horses. She loves to do that. Me, deathly allergic. You know what?
They don't have hay on their backs.
They smell. And you know what? That's my point. If that is what she wants to do and I'm able to go, take some stinking Zyrtec and deal with it. Like, you just do what they want to do sometimes. Like, even if it costs you a little bit, like, just go. And my mother-in-law is another good example of that. She shows up to everything. She will run herself ragged for other people. Sometimes you have to be like, Melanie, you need to take some time for yourself. But she would rather eat dirt than not show up for people. And I just admire that about her, because I'm bad at it sometimes. I've had my moments where I should have showed up and didn't. Even though I don't have a mother-in-law or father-in-law, I lean on her mother-in-law. She'll adopt you. Oh, she will. And she tries to set me up all the time. I love her for that. She knows my type, so she always picks cute boys. But
lately her and I, she is single as well, but we bond over that because she knows what it feels like. And there's a lot of times where we just check in with each other. But
talking to you helped me understand her, because y'all had very similar ways of thinking about things. And so I obviously talked to you more. So talking to you about what it's like to be single helped me understand her and anybody else who's single. And it helped me kind of relate, because I'm someone that was never single long. I always just kind of went from relationship to relationship. I never really was single for very long, so I never went through that. But there's ways to understand if you really try.
Well, and we get it. I mean, being single, I get it. I understand that it is very hard when you are trying to be around your husband's family, your child, and your child is your main focus. And I understand that. So even being single, you have to put yourself in the couple's shoes and the people that are building their life. That's one day where you're going to be, and you need to understand that. You need to understand that things are going to change. Things and expectations are going to change. So I just started, like I said, if you're single, go places alone. Carry, I always have my gun on me, but
be safe.
But seriously, force yourself to do things alone. Start forcing yourself to get out of your comfort zone. And that was one of the biggest things I saw this year, was I liked my own presence. I liked being alone, that it freaked me out thinking that, oh my gosh, if I love my alone time and my house and my cleanliness, how am I gonna let somebody in? But someone told me that when it's the man God has for you, he's going to add to your peace, not take away from it.
Right.
And knowing me, I was like, I haven't found that yet. There hasn't been, or at least there wasn't anybody at that time when I was dating early in the year that made me feel at peace in my own home. It just felt like I was constantly the one having to teach them to lead me to the cross. So since I haven't dated and done any of that, my life has been really blissful. But I have to understand that just because somebody can't make it, that doesn't mean they don't love you. That doesn't mean that they don't want to be there for you. But also, you can still go alone. You don't have to do everything with people. And if my family is like, hey, the only thing that we can do and the only thing that's budget-wise is staying at home and celebrating, I'm still going to do that, because it's about being around the people I love the most. However, because I'm a full-grown adult, I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to go have fun.
Like you said, do 2 celebrations. If people truly financially cannot do it, I get, this economy is rough, y'all. I get it. If they truly can't do that, have a small party in town with everybody, and then, like you said, take a trip somewhere with anybody who does and want to go and is able to. That's I mean, there's always a way to, I feel like, I don't know, our generation's gotten so selfish and so self-centered. And I'm coming to you as somebody who probably wouldn't leave the house if I never had to. I'm just very
unless
introverted.
you bribe Holly with a coffee and a book. She's not, you have to say, hey, do you want to go run errands? And then her first reply is where and when. And then I say, I will bring coffee and this is where I'm going. It's either Marshall's or Target. And then I say, I'm going to check out a bookstore. I like my books, but I'm very meticulous about my books, but I'm not going to spend hours in a bookstore. It's just not going to happen.
It's bribery.
She will spend hours in a bookstore, and I'm just in the corner in the kiddie section on a beanbag.
I'm like a critter. You have to coax me with
so I'm like, I'm getting coffee and then we're going to go do this. And that's usually what'll get her. But if her daughter has something or Zach's not around to help, that's a different story.
No, I don't mess with nap time. But Lacey's never asked me to. She always works around the nap time. I don't want
Jessie awake when she's not supposed to be, because that's messing with her schedule. And
if you have mama friends work around their nap time, it relieves so much anxiety, because we want to be there for you, but when you schedule it in the middle of our kids' nap time, we oftentimes can't be.
Well, and I've learned a lot too, y'all, being single. Instead of focusing on people not being there, which I know that gets heavy, trust me, you're talking to the queen here, but also look at it from their perspective, because if you're praying for that one day, start learning that you're going to have to train your child to take naps. You're going to want people to be understanding when your child has the flu or something going on to where it last minute cancels you from a party because you don't want to spread their germs. You are going to have to eventually mold to that role that you are now blessed with. So in that waiting season, take notes.
Yeah.
Both sides. Because being single, it used to be a burden for me years ago because I was like, God, why does everybody bring it up? But now it's almost like I love telling people why I'm single, because I have Jesus, one, but two, I love what I've built for myself. And I love that if somebody were to come into my life, I'm financially stable, I'm fit, I've worked on my mental health. So I've done all that work, but now I get to choose who comes into my space. I get to choose who I will let be the father of my children.
Well,
and it's such a cool thing to think about.
Sometimes your singleness can be a blessing in disguise. Like your job, I cannot imagine that job married with kids. Like you're never here.
No, I
You're
barely
gone all
use
the time.
my rent.
If you were trying to be a mom and raise a kid doing that,
I couldn't.
That'd be really hard. So like sometimes it's a good thing. And, you know, Lacey's modest, but she's climbing the ladder at her career really rapidly and doing well. So you might not have been able to do that had you had a kid in tow or a husband or whatever.
And God showed me that because I asked him, you know, I was like, God, you know, I want to be a mother one day. You know, I'd love to be a wife and I want to become what I've prayed for. And he hit me over the head one day and he was like, you asked me to make you successful in a job that I'm currently doing, and now you want something else. And I just kind of...
We all do that.
I was sitting there going, wait a second. I'm not even enjoying the blessing that he gave me that I prayed for 4 years. I'm not even... I'm not allowing myself to live in it before I'm already wanting the next thing. So when I took a step back and I went, oh my God... I was like, if I were a mother right now, I could not work at this job.
There's no way.
I would not be able to travel to see my customers. I wouldn't be able to make all of the conferences that I've been able to make. I wouldn't be able to travel to Cancun. I wouldn't be able to travel to Alaska. I wouldn't be able to do all those things. And it started to make me more grateful for the now, because I kept living for the, okay, cool, now that I'm successful, what's next? What's next? And God was like, okay, sit for a second and chill while I show you what I'm about to do. So sometimes, like we hear many times in the Bible, be still.
Yeah.
Be still.
Be content. Contentment is a...
You know how much I love sleeping alone in that bed?
Okay, that I miss. Like, who made up the thing that just because you're married, you have to sleep in the same bed? Like,
and I sleep hot, so if someone's a warm sleeper, we're both dying in there because it is. I sleep with it at like 63.
That's Zach. He likes it Arctic tundra, and I'm over here freezing, and because I get up real early.
She likes it at 76 at night.
No, that's
and I'm going
72. 72. Not that bad. That's our parents. Mom was showing me her electric bill. It's less than $100 because it's a freaking oven. They don't turn the air on.
No, for us at Christmas, we were all like, you could start to see the sleeves go up, and people like starting to do this, and I was like, I'm just gonna go turn it down. I turned it down to 70 from 76, and my dad was complaining about how freaking cold it was, and that he was like shaking and shivering, and I was like, you're
trying
insane.
to be polite, and I finally see her catch my eye, and she's like, girl, I'm pitting, and she kept like walking outside to get some fresh air.
I'm telling you, our parents, when they start to get senile, they put that temperature gauge at their age.
All of us fighting for our lives.
Listen, I got home, because usually when I travel, I turn that off so that nothing's running. And when I got home, I walked in and it was 55 degrees in my house.
Jeez.
And so I honestly was like, this feels so good. I was like, this feels so good. But when I turn the heater on, it gets so warm so fast that then I have to turn it off again. I prefer cold over hot.
Sometimes.
Like if we're on the lake, that's different. But I hate 100-degree weather. I hate it. I hate it.
However, like we're in Texas, obviously, it's probably 70 degrees. Would you?
Yeah, this is beautiful. You can leave your door open.
Beautiful sunshine weather. I will take this over negative temperatures I think I would prefer this.
See, what's weird is everyone was warning me about Alaska and how cold it was going to be and how miserable I was going to be. I loved
I think it's a different kind of cold.
I loved it. I had no problem with
People
it.
from northern states say that Texas cold is brutal.
It's different. It was
because
almost
it's wet.
like the Alaska cold was fresh. It was fresh. It wasn't windy. It wasn't slushy.
The wind.
It was almost like crisp. It was very nice. It was tolerable.
I can see that.
And yeah, granted, it's cold, yes, but it's not miserable cold.
Gosh, and I'm such a baby. I went for a walk in the KOA early this morning, and I was like whining and complaining. I was like, God, it's so cold. And then I looked at my phone. It was maybe 50 degrees. I was like, good Lord, Holly. It wasn't even that cold. Texans are babies.
No.